D?
Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and, like, kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys. Who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
When I got fired from ArenaNet, other women in the industry, like all of a sudden, people were randomly sending me $250 on PayPal.
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening their refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of a mermaid or a siren, right?
Orcs are just like evil elves, right? And they were like made by like an evil god.
Yabble dabble!
Well, you're the real racist here.
Well, then you shall sleep forever.
Okay, well, if you want me to crunch, give me partial ownership in the company.
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
Costa del X, Lutherville, Marina del X, Otisburg. Otisburg?
Where's Tess Marshall? She's got her own place.
Otisburg?
It's a little bitty place.
Otisburg?
Okay, I just wipe it off. That's all. It's a little town.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Great sandwich.
Howdy. How are you guys doing? We have, let's see, got already for short notice, have a decent crowd in here. And we got somebody backstage. Everybody say hi to, well, he's getting up now. I will bring him on when I see him sitting down. Yeah, so here we go. Mr. Max Boivin, Reactionary Principle Gaming. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine. This is a subject that I'm quite familiar with, so I'm glad I could get on for this.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll set the table a little bit, then we can discuss. I also invited Greg on. I don't know. It was kind of short notice. Greg Gillespie. So we'll see. He is aware of the situation too. So, and I actually have the video, so we can EFAP it if need be. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for those of you that don't know and are just kind of stumbling in, Wizards of the Coast stepped in it again. Boy, this company, man, it's one wrong move after the other. Kyle Brink, our old friend, who they pushed into the limelight during the whole OGL fiasco, was on a YouTube channel called Three Black Halflings. And again, shout out to L, subscriber L, for putting this on my radar pretty quick. And he, in the course of the interview, they were talking about diversity and representation at Wizards of the Coast. And I tell you what, maybe we ought to just watch what he said.
This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello. I think it's about the
credits of our books. You'll see some lead designers there who are not cis men. You will also see a lot of primary authors on sources. These are folks who are coming up through the ranks and proving themselves and earning their respect, not because of who they are, but because of how they are as professionals, which is the best kind of respect, right? You don't want to be respected because you're the diversity hire. You want to be respected because you're awesome at your job. And that's happening more and more.
That, by the way, that I noticed that that's his nod, basically saying like all the minority and diversity people we've hired before are just woefully unqualified based on like Journeys to the Radiant Citadel, Candlekeep, all that stuff. He's trying to say like, well, when we get some qualified ones in here, we'll sure we'll sure put them on.
Right, I hope that the people that get hired for that, I hope they do know that they get hired because they are I don't know, because sometimes you think those people are delusional. They might think that actually what they're doing is quite good. I don't even know if they bother to look at the sale number. Like I feel like if I would work on a product, that I would be curious to see how well the product did. But those products, I don't believe they sell well at all. But
yeah, I think that was the old way of thinking, Max. Where you had to kind of earn your bones, and you were worried about the work. Now it's just about getting the credit. Now it's about just being able to say on your social media that, hey, I was an author here. And then it's like, boom, on to the next thing that I can burn down.
Yeah. And there's no worry about bettering. Like, people are not worried about bettering themselves anymore. So they don't, there's no worry about like saying, oh, well, is people actually like what I'm doing? And that's
yeah,
it's not gonna lead for anything great for the future.
No, not. All right, let us how you doing, Al? Here's where I guess I would term it the money shot is coming up here.
This look, guys like me, we're leaving the workforce, to be blunt, and we're also not. This is not the face of the hobby anymore. I'm not the majority of this hobby anymore, and so it's important to me that my team of creators look like my players and have the lived experience that my players do. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, white dudes in a basement, which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
Boom. What do you think, Max?
They want us gone, but that's not new. Like a few years back, I don't know if you were aware of that, or if you remember that, but there was like this tweet about Mike Mills, like you're fired from D&D, and it was basically the same sentiment, like you're saying, like, and that was the day since when I say, okay, WotC, I'm done. Like Wizard of the Coast, I'm done with you. Like, oh, you want to fire me from D&D, which is like very stupid concept. Then fine, I'll go elsewhere. And now they keep on, and it's a new team, new people. The people change, but the message stay the same. Like, we don't want you anymore. Go away. Like, what will it take for us to listen? Like it's always like the old same chorus of don't buy product from people who hate you. Well, they keep telling you they don't want you.
For sure.
And I don't know what your experience is, but like you say, that's not the face of the hobby anymore. But I don't know. You feel like, there's always been like, it's never been like fully white men, but it's still like the vast majority.
Go look at your local game shop. Yeah, I mean, you'll see, you'll see probably a little bit more women than maybe you did, in the past. But honestly, to say that we're just sort of relegated to just second-class citizens and like a minority, I don't know if that's true.
But even if the hobby was like representative of the demographic of the United States, or even worse, of Canada, it's still a majority white country. So you're still gonna have a majority white people in there. But I don't even think it's representative. I don't think like there's 13% of gamers that are black, and there's no way near 51% of gamers that are women. So it's still like white men are still vastly overrepresented in the hobby. And it's not tomorrow is going to change, even with all their best effort, and even if they say we don't want you anymore in D&D, they're still going to be the majority in the RPG hobby in general. They might just not be as present in Wizard of the Coast and official D&D anymore, but they'll go somewhere else. They'll find something else, hopefully.
It's unbelievable that he would step in it like this. It was funny you brought up Mike Merles, and that brought me back to his joke. His tweet. It wasn't a joke, but when he said that guys were being gatekeepers of D&D with math. Do you remember that one?
It was with rule complexity and lore complexity. Like if you want like complex lore, and I don't know if I have a new channel. You might not have a chance to look at it, but that's something I talk about a lot, about like a lore complexity, because I love in world building like deep lore and world that are consistent and make sense and stuff like that, because I find that it allows people to engage more into it. If you just do like a world where anything goes and nothing makes sense and people don't act
Yep.
like people, you lose a lot in the creation. And that's fine if that's all you want to play, but I do love a deep lore. I do love when things make sense and when the world is believable in a way.
Yeah,
So I guess I'm the
I-
bad guy because of that, you know.
yeah. I will definitely check out your channel too. Actually, L brought up a good point. I should put OGL in the title of the thing. So yes, all right, it is done. But yeah, this is also a lot of self-loathing, and it's like we can't ever have like just an honest discussion anymore involving race. It's like he couldn't have gone on, this channel and just said, hey, here's what we're struggling with. We want to hire, get maybe some more minority viewpoints in here, but right now, we're just not seeing the quality in the work, but we're going to keep trying. Why can't you just say, that we're going to keep our door open, but we're also going to keep quality, in the forefront, which is the most important thing you should be looking at.
Even without going like this far, like they can say like we always trying to find new talents, like diverse talents, stuff like that, and they could try to put it in the like put a positive spin on it and try to say, oh, we're trying to uplift and stuff like that, without having to put the bashing, like it's something like they might want to be put up like diverse people if that's what they want to do, but they always feel obligated to put down white men, it's like, and that's where the problem is.
Well, you see it in commercials these days. Are you allowed to say where you're from? Are you in North America at least, or
I'm in Canada.
Okay, I'm gonna guess by the accent, Quebec.
I'm not in Quebec, but I'm from Quebec. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Lovely. We went up there a couple of years ago. I had always wanted to go up there, and I'm like, I got to see. I want to see Montreal, and then I want to see the home of the Nordiques. So we went up to
I
Quebec
lived in
City.
Montreal for 12 years, and now I'm outside of Quebec, but that's where I come from.
Yeah,
and the accent.
But yeah, it's but you see it, in all the commercials down here too. It's like all right, come on, nobody has a problem with representation, with more representation, but it's like you don't need to almost exclude a certain race that used to be in there, talking about white people. And it's like when they are on, it's like they're made to be like fools and the butts of jokes, and it's like, geez, who approves this? And like, I guess who likes this stuff too? It's a self-loathing that I just can't understand. It's like we can't be just. Why can't we all just be normal? It's what I keep saying.
It's like we're expected to have like no self-respect and no cares for ourselves. And you say like nobody has problem with the representation, and sometimes I feel like they push so hard with the diversity stuff like that, then like there's a backlash. When I was growing up, Predator was one of my favorite movies. It was a great movie, and that at the time was a very diverse movie, but nobody thought of it like that. It's just like a bunch of doing dude stuff and stuff like that, just like, and there was even like the Hispanic chicks in there too, it's like that had like a good role in the movie.
Yep.
And nobody thought of it, and it wasn't like put up front and stuff like that. It was just like naturally made. It didn't like but now like you would make such a movie in today's, and I know
they pretended it never been done.
Eyes. Yeah, I would roll my eyes if they would make this movie today, because they say, oh, of course. And of course you wouldn't have Arnold as the main guy, but yeah, at some point, like it's one of my favorite saying is like the scalded cats fear cold water. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as I say, they push it so much that now everything that looks like it, you say like, oh, again. Yeah. So
McDougal says, as a person of color, I've never had problems playing D&D due to my skin color. This is some BS. Yeah, I agree. It's look, I'm from a fairly white bread community. When I was growing up, it was kind of a white bread city, but it's like nobody would have ever batted an eyelash if a black guy or a Hispanic guy or whatever wanted to play. It would not have been done. It's gamers have always been very open-minded, like, hey, come on, sit down and enjoy this with us. It's by its very nature, it's almost at odds with that kind of thinking, and to think that these these vandals, these cultural vandals, are rewriting history. That, you know what, in about 15 years, they're going to start making movies about kids, black kids sitting down in a 1980s D&D table and just being told, like, get out.
Yeah, and
get out, you're not welcome here, and that never happened anywhere ever.
I come from a place like pretty much up north, like, and we didn't really have black guy, but like growing up in the 1890s, I feel like it wasn't really a thing. Like, people weren't like thinking about race and stuff like that all the time. And I'm sure, like, from the friend I talk in the US, it's the same for them as well. Like, they were past that. It's like,
that's what we thought. We thought we were like, all right, we're finally getting over this. We don't even need to really talk about it anymore. Yeah, of course, nothing is perfect, obviously, but it's like, man, these last two generations have really hit us hard.
There's a joke I like to make, but it's only like you can only make in a certain milieu. Like, like those cultural Marxists. Marxists used to be worried about class struggle, but now they all change it for race struggle.
Yeah.
So they made race as class, which is funny that they hate it so much in D&D.
which honestly puts them in the same category as those guys that were in Germany from 1933 to 1945. That they were very socialist too. It's just that, rather than sort of an economic socialism, it was based on nationalism and identity, and that's exactly what these people want. They're sort of unwittingly, well, I don't even know if it's unwitting anymore. They got to know they're falling into the same trap.
I think what they want. What they want really is to create conflict. I think that's all they want. They want to create the dysfunction, and they want to create malcontentment. They want to create grievance and stuff like that. That's because, like they say in Littlefinger said in Game of Thrones, chaos is a ladder. That's what they embodies. That's what they're trying to do. It's not they don't care about like uplifting any. I doubt that really Kyle like is waking up in the morning and say, "Oh, what can I do today to help the black people and the non-cis men that he mentioned too?" Like the beginning of the of this clip you played.
Yeah. Well, it's I see and I see this. It's like a two strip like cartoon. It's about equity. Oh, this is all equity is, and it's about like people trying to see over like a fence, and one of the kids, and of course I think it's a minority kid, can't see over. So in the next panel, he's given like an extra box to stand on to see over the fence. But their version of equity it would be at odds with that, because they would take away a box from somebody else, because that's all they're about is, and give it to this person. That's what equity is. It's different than equality. Far different from equality.
One thing that always made me laugh too in this cartoon you're talking about is like, somebody put this baseball game together and put a fence around it because they're selling ticket for seats. All the people looking from the outside.
Deeper principles at work there.
So all those people on the inside stepping on bucks to watch the game without paying, that's a problem too. We don't talk about that.
That's why they, if you noticed in like baseball, that's why they build things like the Green Monster at Fenway. I think Philadelphia had like a huge wall for that. It's just to keep for that exact reason. Just a quick sidebar. Let's see what the chat is saying on all this. Wow, you guys are showing up in force on quick notice. I was like, well, I'll probably get about 10 people in here, and boom, before I know it, you guys are showing up strong as always. Thank you. Let's see. Just got here. Are they holding to that old stereotype about D&D players only being old white dudes? Yes, Ironcaster, they are. Well, they're saying that he's not saying that's the case anymore. But he's just saying like the sooner we can all get out, the better. Oh boy. Trying to see what else we got going on here. Yikes. Harsh one there.
Painter was right.
Legend of Five Rings. Have you ever played Legend of Five Rings, Max?
I never. That's a game that because I come from I come from up north, and we only have access to books that was mostly translated in French. You know, when I was growing up, I didn't speak English, so there's a lot of games that evaded us, and we also got a lot of like weird role-playing game from France that you might not be familiar with. So Legend of the Five Ring is one that evaded me. But
I never played it either.
Interesting, and the system seemed cool too.
Yeah, I'd always flip through it, and I'd be like, "Oh, cool! You know, this is kind of neat." But nowadays it's probably probably considered, at least the old one would probably be considered culturally verboten. I'm sure they did something.
We didn't.
I suppose if the OGL debacle wasn't enough, now I should take my adult white male disposable income. Yeah, that's what they're saying, Bullet Catcher. I mean, can you really? That was so clear. I want to play it again. I'm going to play it again just so we all can see it.
For this hobby, and we guys like me, we're leaving the workforce, to be blunt, and we're also not. This is not the face of the hobby anymore. I'm not the majority of this hobby anymore, and so it's important to me that my team of creators look like my players and have the lived experience that my players do. And I think there's been mistakes made in years past where people assumed that D&D players were all, white dudes in a basement, which has been a faulty assumption for a lot of years and gets more and more false every day. And so it's, in my viewpoint, honestly, guys like me can't leave soon enough.
I was looking to see if maybe, all right, am I twisting something here? Is he just talking about maybe white guys like him should leave positions, executive positions, at companies? But he's not even talking about that. I mean, he'd be a hypocrite either way. But
exactly, that's what I'm about to bring. He said, "Oh, guys like me cannot wait to leave soon enough." Well, you're not tied up there. You can leave tomorrow if you want. Just give your demission and just say, "Oh, okay, I'm gone." If you so take the first step.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always like that. Like what he's talking about.
I don't know if you saw, I did release a quick video, literally just edited like mad. But he did go over a couple of other things. He basically washed his hands of the response, the initial one. We won, and I know L has been hot on. He said something at. I don't know, L, if you can find the marker where he talks about Disney. If you find the time marker, I'll play it. But he talks about they were part of the reason that they did all this is they were afraid a company like Disney was going to come in and ruin D&D. And it's like they couldn't possibly be doing a worse job of it than you guys are lately.
Well, I wouldn't put it past Disney though. With Disney and everything, just like if there was the one company I could say that probably could make it worse, would be Disney.
It would be interesting to see, almost, like a laboratory test. But it's honestly hard. You look at some of the stuff that they've produced, and I honestly don't know. Read the first chapter of Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. Tell me how it could be worse. I mean, are they? Is it just going to call for revolution in real life? Because that's basically what it was one step away from.
I can't wait until they put out books in pidgin English.
yeah, it's funny. All right, here we go. L has a timestamp for me here, so we'll watch it from 2:30.
New technologies that weren't considered when the OGL was first written, the emergence of some hateful content that's coming around out there. When you have a bigger community, you have a bigger duty, and we're just worried about the impact of some of these things. Mm-hmm. And that was the origin. I will say that I've been at Wizards for a couple of years now, and this was in process when I got here. So these concerns have been a concern at Wizards for a long time, and I was part of the team that picked up the ball and continued forward with it. But those were the motivations behind it, is worries about, and when I say big media corps, I don't mean Wizards big, I mean like Meta big, I mean like Disney big. That's the kind of stuff we were actually worried about.
Mm-hmm. So specifically, like in what way were you worried about a company like Disney, like somehow interfering with D&D?
So under the OGL 108 is written, there's quite a bit of things you could do with the SRD. And just as a for instance, this wasn't a specific concern, but you asked for an example. Let's say that you were a large social media company that had built an amazing social media platform, and then you would use those dollars to make a virtual reality metaverse, you might say. Let's say you were some unnamed company that had done all those things, and then
He's trying to throw Facebook under the bus now here. I don't know if you guys saw, but of course we are now joined with the estimable Mr. Greg Gillespie. How you doing, Greg?
How's everyone else doing?
Doing great, doing great. Yeah, you were right on this. As I was editing my video, I got a text from Greg saying, "Did you see it?" And I'm like, I'm editing my rear end off, and then while I was doing that, I'm like, you know what? I should just go live. So I did. So yeah, so I asked him. Thank you for jumping on with Max and myself here. What are your thoughts? Just your raw. What was your raw reaction, Greg? And take us through, whatever you want to say.
Well, for me, I really, he comes across as very disingenuous, and he's sort of dancing, and I think some of the questions were reasonably direct. I think they could have pressed a little further, but I think some of the questions were direct and on point, and I didn't really like the responses. And then the race grifting at the end is reprehensible.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I meant to say that too. Actually, I was listening to it, and I was expecting the worst from them. I actually thought they asked some pretty pointed questions. I thought they actually did a pretty good job, even though the whole rate, the race thing, they were just kind of begging for diversity without quality. I guess they didn't seem to care. They were only interested in the fact that this people that they were hiring were in like lower positions. Not once did the word quality parse anybody's lips. Which
merit has nothing to do with it. It's just a shameful display, and that it's such an open, corporate sanctioned display of racism is. I mean, I'd love to say it's shocking, but it's not. It's saying that white guys in their basements can't get out of the hobby fast enough. This is the reason why we won't be putting money in your corporation. If you're playing 5e right now, go outside, have a good old-fashioned book burning, and play something else.
Yeah, we are going to be switching, I think, at the nearest opportunity. We're just finishing up. Of all things, Barrow Maze. By the way, we had another 2 deaths. My wife's character died, and then in the I'm sure you'll know where I'm talking about, but there's a place where you must embrace death, and one of my players, my friend Sean, the Eagles fan, you'll probably be happy to know he thought embracing death meant having the other players kill him. So I was biting my lip on being like, "Oh no, please don't." But yep. So yeah, so two are gone. That's 3 total in the Barrow Maze body count. But yeah, it's we're having a great time. Should be probably wrapped up with it next week, at least as far as they want to go with it right now. So if you guys haven't already looked into any of Greg's products, check them out. You can get them all on Drive-Thru RPG. They are all fantastic. So yeah, let's anybody.
The thing is, when you say you cannot wait for white men to get out of the hobby soon enough, that's the thing is going to bite them in the ass. Sorry, I don't know the language, but in the rear end is
oh yeah, bite them in the ass. Yeah,
yeah. Is that if the white men leave the hobby, they're not going to be replaced by it's just like it'd be different if we want other people to join again, like saying, we want other people to join the hobby, like that are maybe you could even say we want people that are not just white men to join the hobby, but saying we want them to leave. Well, why are you trying to push customer away? Don't you want like the most customer you can?
Exactly.
No, they don't, because they've obviously gone to the Kathleen Kennedy Lucasfilm School of How to Destroy a Franchise 101. and it's not about profit. It's about virtue signaling and social justice and things of that nature. And the thing is, if you, and same thing with comic books as well, like, once you alienate that core audience that really made these things what they are, then you're going to get hit in the pocketbook. And there are people, because of the OGL thing, because of really bad PR on Wizards of the Coast part, this being yet another example, people aren't going to go pay to see the D&D movie, and as a result, they're going to get kicked in the ass by it.
Yeah, you mentioned Kathleen Kennedy and Disney and those are big companies, and you know what, they sort of shift things around. I think they have they sort of know some of these things are going to be loss leaders, but in essence they can kind of hide it. Man, I just don't think D&D is big enough to do that. I know they're a big part of WotC's a big part of Hasbro and all that, but boy, a couple years of deep revenue slashes, and Hasbro is going to be like, what the F is going on here, guys?
Also, like Wizard of the Coast is the cash cow of Hasbro, and like they are
due to Magic.
Due to Magic mostly,
a lot
but
Magic,
even with Magic, they made a lot of blunders recently. But like they said, they're 20% of the revenue of Hasbro, but 70% of the profit, because like what they produce is so low cost to produce, and they can, with Magic especially, and it's really the cash cow. So at some point, like if they start like killing the goose that laid the golden egg, yeah, I hope Hasbro, Hasbro announced like more than 1,000 employees that's gonna be fired, laid off, so soon.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to bother them, and they certainly won't be looking into the mirror anytime soon. They will blame everything else, but where the real problem lie. Yeah,
I'm sure good old Kyle would be glad to be amongst those 1,000 employee fired.
Oh yeah.
You cannot go soon enough.
Yeah, give your seat up to a person of color executive. Put your money where your mouth is, Kyle. You despicable coward. Because that's exactly what he is.
He is a despicable coward, and going on and prostrating himself like that, no respect.
Yeah. It's a struggle session. He went into a very like a minor struggle session.
He did,
and that's look, they have everybody on a short leash. We all know that at Wizards of the Coast. So they vetted this channel, and they were probably like, okay, these guys are going to, they'll ask you, some questions. And as I said earlier, they asked them some tougher questions. We're a little tougher on them than I actually thought they would be. So good on them. I did put a link to their video in the video I just did. So I don't know, check it out. I don't know, give it at least a watch for those guys' sake. But yeah, it's I don't know. These guys. Go ahead.
You don't think you'd be able to get an interview with Kyle D&D?
Yeah.
To ask?
Hey Kyle, I run a YouTube channel. Here's my past.
You want to come on?
Yeah. So I mean, they got everybody on a tight leash. So yeah. So they were like, cool. You can go on here, but for him to gack it up like this and just be it's so obsequious. It's the only word I can say. Just prostrating yourself for no reason. He has nothing to apologize for his race or anything in this, in this context, especially. I mean, good Lord, ever, but especially here. Why are you even doing this? And here he is, just like a worm saying like, oh, we need to leave. All right, what an insult to everybody, to even these folks too. So you're gonna deprive people the works of a Greg Gillespie, of even like a Rich Baker. Go through the line of all the the Mount Rushmore of gaming. Everybody who's built it. They're just supposed to disappear. It's sickening.
There's something funny also, because they often talk about this gatekeeping, and I always say those books are sold to anybody. If you're black and stuff like that, or whatever you kind of identity you have, if you want to join the hobby, you can just go buy the books and find your own group and start playing. And if you want to create for a D&D with the OGL, it was very easy. Like even if the way they were saying is true, and all those company was racist and wouldn't hire like creator of color or whatever, well, you had the OGL. create your own stuff. Like there's no barrier entry or very low barrier of entry.
They don't want to admit that the hobby that people of color fell in love with coming in was created by these guys.
Yeah.
How do they explain that?
Yeah, people are free to
you
make
don't you don't go and actually buy the books and create your own stuff that's interesting and captivating and gets players coming back over and over again. You just complain that, hey, well, I should have this right off the bat. And I don't agree with that logic whatsoever. You should go and you're right, make your own stuff and show us what you've got, put it out there. And if it's the cream, it'll rise to the top. And if it's not, then it'll sink and everyone will know one way or the other and all the middling stuff in between. So I agree with you completely.
But making your own stuff is hard. It requires a lot of work. A lot of stuff you're gonna make is gonna suck. You're gonna try again. You're gonna work on it. It's much easier to complain on Twitter and to get hired because of ideology and stuff like that. Ideological hiring. You write some vegan cookbook that nobody read, and then you can write for Radiant Citadel. Come on in. Oh, you don't care about D&D? You don't like the game? Well, it doesn't matter. You don't need to. You don't need to put in the URs. It's insane.
And I keep saying, like, she honestly, of all those dumb adventures, hers was one of the least offensive, I guess. And I looked at her Twitter. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this one. And yeah, her whole Twitter was just about cooking. There was no leftism or anything in it. I'm like, well, she's woefully unqualified to do a D&D adventure, but
maybe she put it on a staffer.
Well, and you know what? That's sort of where we're at, isn't it? That I will now just take somebody. I just assume they all hate me, but as long as you don't advertise it in a very direct way or do something like this little worm did, this little Grima worm tongue, then I'm fine. You know what? You hate me, whatever. You know what? If it's good, I'll at least give it a look. But it's like if you actively, they actively don't like you. it's where we're at.
Yeah.
Like Greg said, it's maybe you don't look. If anything, just don't give Wizards of the Coast another dime. If you're playing 5e and you want to wrap it up or whatever, and then move on to bigger, better things, fine. But just do not buy one more thing. If you are a subscriber to their virtual tabletop, whatever D&D Beyond or whatever the fuck it is, just fucking cancel it. God, there's no reason anybody, if you're a white guy, you should be giving them anything from this point on. I had said, from 6E on was my line in the sand. I'll defend you playing any edition of D&D, from 5E back. If it's good for you and your group, that's fine. 6E, no way. And you know what? And now it's like, well, halfway through 5th edition, that's it. Boom.
Yeah. But you say if you're a white guy, but even if you're not a white guy, this level of groveling and stuff like that, I don't know. It should be insulting. You should be in I cannot put myself in the shoes of a non-white guy because I'm pretty white. But
exactly. I do. Like you. I wonder what these guys thought.
I would imagine. I say, well, you don't need to do that for me. I can do my own. You don't have to go on your knee and stuff like that. You just treat me like a person.
Yes.
I find it insane that I don't know, and I know that some people of color are like that. Some black guys say that and look at this and say stop it, stop stop groveling on your belly like you're like a little worm.
Look, I
treat me like a human being.
I have a very, very close we'll just say blood relative who happens to be gay, and I've always told them I will always treat you as an equal, and I will accept this, like it was normal, because I think that's the way it should be. But I also said, I will also not, it will never be anything like special or celebrating. And and I've always said, you should always beware people who, you should always beware of people who are a little too eager to celebrate, your choice, that way. And they agree, it's like they are always on guard, now a little bit for these folks that are just a little too eager to celebrate something like this. And that's what I would think these guys should be feeling. Like, why is this guy doing this? There's something wrong here.
I think they have a culture of it. And for all the people that were, probably watching this, or perhaps his higher ups or their other PR team or whatever, they're probably expecting that level of groveling. And I mean,
God,
it's just, I have a lump in my throat when I hear this man speak, and it's like I just want to grab him and go, dude, like, what are you doing? Yes. Really, what are you doing? You're, as we noted, you're taking a huge portion of your fan base and throwing them directly under the bus. Like, we can't get out soon enough. I wanted to slap that guy.
Yeah, I didn't. I think I'd seen his picture. Yeah, and listening to him talk, I was. He was not a picture of masculinity.
It's bloody offensive, is what it is. I'm offended by it. And,
yeah. He's a schlub.
They're in a culture where they don't care. But that's not of the ways that you treat people. That's a great way how not to do it. Don't say stupid things. If someone shoved you in the front as the PR guy who's going to be the face of this disaster, and you have an obligation to speak in a manner that speaks to everybody, and not throw one group under the bus like that. It's offensive, and I'm disgusted by it, to be perfectly honest.
Disgust is the feeling that I get from that, but it's like such weakness, because like say like, oh, don't throw a group under the bus like that. But especially when it's your own group, like I'm big for like self-affirmation and strength and like dignity and like not humiliating yourself, like you like walk with the back straight and the head up, and like I'm a big proponent of that. And seeing that, like that's the feeling I get. Like I get disgust, like at this human being, and it's like.
Well, Travis kind of hits it there. He's in a cult, he's under a spell like a lot of these folks, and there's no easy way to wake him up.
Could also change this L for N.
The part two, I think we see this flip from the so you got the entertainment medium, be it a movie, be it a role-playing game, be it a TV show, whatever. And then we've got the forced ideology, right? And when the ideology overtakes the entertainment medium, you get people speaking like this, or you get Amazon's Rings of Power, or you get trash Star Wars or trash Star Trek. And so, but when you've got it's okay to have a subtext. So, Star Trek was great for many decades because it put the entertainment first. It had subtext that it was forwarding, which is fine. No problem with that at all. But when that overtakes the main text, now it's just it's
propaganda.
Garbage. It's propaganda.
And that's the thing.
He's a commissar. This guy's a political officer. He's a commissar, and that's exactly the ideology he spewed in this video.
And it's so prevalent in culture nowadays. Like it's like you said, it's everything. It's in the movie, in the TV shows, I guess, on stream, and move a bit. But that now, like when we just have like a TV show or a movie that doesn't treat us like trash, that doesn't openly insult us, or doesn't like beat up us like House of Dragon, even if it's a TV show that's just like okay, then people like are fawning over it, say, oh no, that's great, at least we have a good thing. But you would have seen that show like a few years back, and you're just like, oh, it's okay,
it's an okay show. It's like
okay
nothing
show.
Special, but just
but now like everything is so trash. Same thing with video games. I've worked in video games for more than a decade, and I've seen this change in culture from the inside quite a bit. When I started in the company on the production floor, it was 90% white male. We're in Northern Canada, so that's not too surprising,
right?
But the company like made a conscious effort to change that, and they started with this ideological hiring. So, and it's HR people. They always say like, "Oh, we're not hiring people based on their race or gender and stuff like that. But if two candidates are equal, we're gonna pick up the one that is not a white male." But no candidate is ever equal, and the HR people cannot really judge if and even if when they get like somebody from the production floor to try to help with judging the candidate, the HR always override, and then
they'll make them equal. They'll make them equal, and then they can make the call.
And then you're working on a project, and it's sad to say you can tell who's been hired for an ideological reason, and then you're just in a meeting. So like, you have to pick some people for a meeting. You got a choice of people of your workmate you know nothing about. It's sad to say the safe choice is to pick the white guy because you know that he has been hired because he was good. The other one, it's always a risk.
When I work in the Fortune 500 world, and it's I was amazed at how quickly it kind of took over there. After the whole George Floyd thing, our CEO, he became really semi-radicalized, I would call it. And we got now diversity and inclusion a section, and it is funny how the people, like the executives of that section and the people that like volunteer for all the events, it's like I don't know, man. It's it's never like the top executives, it's always like people that have been shuffled around like throughout their career, and it's like, oh, here's a place where they literally can't fail because there's no standards.
But that's the thing too. Like oftentimes, like there's people that say, "Oh, company, like big corporation, they just do the spendering. It's cynical. They just do it because they think it." But I've been in the inside, and I can tell like it's not always cynical because there are some true believer in there. And oftentimes, like I said, it started like hiring on the production floor, but then they want to promote more diverse people in managerial positions. So those people start to rise up, and then they bring up their friend, and there are people like that. And at some point, like it's like a contagion that's spread out. And if you have the right belief, it does influence us as well if you're going to get promoted too. So at some point, rise to the top, not the cream, but the true believer.
Yeah.
And that's when the company like really start like doing badly. And you see that like this company I was working at, they took a nosedive. It used to be like a big one. But now
you're going to see more, I think, just in general. I think just there's going to be more mom and pop success stories because they're not going to be beholden to these standards. And it's going to be like, well, all right, we'll either do it ourselves or we'll do it in conjunction with another small company, because it's going to be the only way you can maneuver through this minefield in the years to come. And that's very, very small one-man bands like Greg Gillespie, doing his thing, versus a Paizo or a Wizards of the Coast that are just beholden to this junk, this manufactured garbage that they're going to be, that they have been putting out over at least the last couple of years. And my God, I can only imagine how bad it's going to be, 5 years from now. Can you imagine what a D&D book is going to look like in 5 years, Greg?
No, I have no idea. Well, I have an idea, but that, like, if it doesn't interest me now, it's not going to interest me in 5 years.
Well, it's like a car crash. I mean, you have a morbid curiosity.
Well, you do. It's a bit of a Gawker slowdown, right? You're like,
yes.
Just to see how WotC blunders, like they've just been blundering for a decade and a half, slightly more even, and they overpromise and they underdeliver, right? They do the opposite of Scotty in Star Trek, right?
Yep.
And they constantly, oh yeah, we're going to do a virtual tabletop with 4th edition, and all that falls flat in its face. Oh, we're going to do this campaign setting, oh, that falls flat in its face. And it's just over and over and over. They can't get out of their way. They can bugger up a 2-car funeral. The art's terrible. And the people that have more insight into exactly what they're publishing tell me that it's not that great either. So, there's all of that. And the other part too, that was mentioned about, HR departments are really where a lot of these folks congregate, and they empire build, right? Once they get a dean, or once they get an executive, then they're hiring more like-minded people that pushes other people out. And then they start empire building from the center of HR or, human rights and equity or whatever it might be. And it's from there that they can flip the culture of an organization. And so, universities are to blame. Sadly, it's just the truth of the matter, and I'm part of that. I argue against it, but I'm just one drop in a bucket.
Yeah. Well, this had always been in the back of my mind, and I'm like, I know we're headed there sooner or later, and I never wanted to admit the day. And I think I saw a headline the other day, and I'm not sure how truthful it was, or maybe it was clickbait, but it's like Southwest Airlines lowers standards for pilots.
You see
when are you going to step on a plane and you're going to see a pilot there with a girl age 28 with purple hair?
Yeah, but didn't Southwest Airlines also had like a huge problem recently? Like all their flight was delayed and canceled. Like when is like a thing like that? Like around Christmas?
Yeah.
At some point, like the chicken come home to roost.
But it's like from a self-preservation. Do I want to get on a plane with? I've always told everybody I fly with, when I get on a plane, I want to see a bald pilot, 60 to 65 years old. That is the ideal age.
Yeah, I want an.
I don't care. I don't care what color he is, but if he's a guy who's like 60 to 65, that's who I want my life. Yeah, I want my life in their hands.
Yeah. An ex-fighter pilot is good.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's like you can almost point to like you were talking about the video game industry, Max, and even a little thing like. It's so cringy now, but like Rick and Morty, was kind of an okay show. The first, I think, 2 seasons. Like, it's kind of cool, kind of whatever. Even though the fans are, the diehard fans are annoying. It's like, it's a kind of a guilty pleasure, and some of the stuff was funny. What happened third season or whatever?
Pickle Rick.
Pickle Rick. It's like, it's like people, you almost know that it happened then because so many people were just saying like, oh my God, how funny that was. It's just so funny. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Wasn't the writer of Pickle Rick the one that wrote Velma, isn't?
No, but
no?
It was what it was. If you remember that episode, there was a psychologist, a Asian psychologist.
Yeah.
The woman who wrote that episode, and that's what they did the third season. There was not enough women in the writing room, so they hired a bunch of women writers, and that's what you got. You got a self-insert. She was the psychologist. If you look at her character in there, and then you see her picture in real life, you will see you'll laugh your ass off. It's a complete self-insert. And what does she do at the very first episode? She gets to tell Rick. What a stupid bad guy he is. So
Charlotte Williams pointed out in chat that the Pickle Rick woman wrote She-Hulk. I knew that she was rated to another show.
Okay, yeah.
I know she was rated to another show that was awful. But
Velma was Mindy Kaling. From
it's from The Office.
She's pretty unfunny too. But it's just brutal. This assault that just keeps happening.
To be honest, I checked out of all those media a long time ago. Now I only get entertainment from watching people on YouTube point and laugh at those shows. that's the only good we get now.
Oh, you know what I'm doing? I am going back and I am rewatching 1940s noir movies. It is so awesome. I saw the what was it? The Orson Welles one from like 1946, the Stranger. He plays a escaped Nazi who comes to America and is blending in, and Edward G. Robinson is on his trail. Such a good movie. Orson Welles is fantastic as the bad guy.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Orson Welles. I haven't seen this one.
It is worth your time to check out. Just really good noir movie. Those movies are just kind of so honest and boom, straightforward. All atmosphere. Gave you what you wanted. The women were women. Yes, noir is fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know what we're gonna do. I would say in the short term, at least, let Wizards know, like on Twitter, and just I don't know what kind of hashtag you guys can come up with, but just let them know that what he said, and they're probably not going to care because they've been programmed to tune you guys out. But
we need to tell Wizard like, okay, I'm leaving now. I didn't leave soon enough. That's what we need. Like, oh, you don't. But
I mean, not another dime at least works, because regardless of what you've done now, this is this is the point of no return, right?
Yeah.
This is the point where you can't bargain anymore and say, well, I'll at least just get, a few things here and there. It's like, no, they've told you they don't want you. So
yeah, it's a bridge too far. If you weren't,
Mhm.
I was already there, but I think this needs to be the last straw if you're
But that's-
hanging on by a thread.
That's what I'm worried about, because I feel like a lot of us were already there. Like, they did plenty enough to get us to leave and to get us to not give them business anymore. Just like the bad product they put out was enough. Just even if you're not in politics stuff.
For a
And
lot
I
of
feel-
people,
But I
it's,
feel like the people. Do you think the people that are still there at this point, despite all the blunder of WotC, is that gonna affect them? Like, it's a bridge too. It's a straw too much. Like the straw, like you feel like some of those camel can never have their back broken.
it'll peel some more off. But here's what those people are going to go through. They're going to be like, hey, did you hear what this guy said? And there's going to be maybe a couple of people in the game group who says, well, so what? It's not that bad or whatever. And then they're just going to be like, oh, okay.
No, I think they'll be quite righteous about it. This is, when somebody talks like this, it's because they're coming from a culture that talks like that.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And those are accepted norms. Yeah, get rid of them. They're dead wood. So it's not the face of gaming anymore. Like, that's the kind of ridiculous discussions I'm sure they have behind closed doors. And then when Loch Ness shows you its head, I mean, there's probably a lot more under the water, and you got a little look right there.
They're in Seattle. We all know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to. I'm sure there's plenty of fine people in Seattle, but by and large, it is a liberal cesspool.
That's the thing. Also, like we're human beings. We're really good into getting to circle of people that kind of think like us on a large extent. So I'm sure, I don't know anybody in my personal life that would speak or think like that guy. I'm sure you don't know anybody in real life like that either. Or maybe just some crazy weirdo on the edge there, but you don't really interact with him. Yep. But I'm sure on this side that everybody knows things and talk like that. It's different bubble. Like you say, it's in Seattle. You got this little circle of people that are all woke, and we're there in normal land. There's much more of us, but they don't know that. For them, that's oh, everybody thinks like that. And for us, who thinks like that?
Yes, exactly.
So
got a super chat from Emery. Thank you so much, Emery. I do appreciate that. Says my friend bought me a hardcover of Greg, this is all you. A hardcover of Barrow Maze Complete for OSR. I ordered Archaea, Dwaro Deep, and Highfell. Love the friendly old yellow stripe down the backs. There you go. I don't have a physical. I only have PDFs. I'm gonna have to get a hardcover of these.
Well, thank you, Emery. I appreciate your support very much. I appreciate it very much.
You know what I was noticing? I was kind of just going through last night. The Dwaro Deep artwork, and man, I can't tell you how evocative that just very straightforward black and white artwork is in your stuff. And I was kind of doing a comparison to the D&D 5e player's handbook, which is, I suppose, a competent piece of art, but it's just so overworked. And I always give it the old hold it a few feet away from your eyes. Can you tell what's going on? And it's you can't. These old drawings, though, the old black and white, even just the old covers, like the one behind me. It's they pop no matter where they are. They pop. So kudos again.
So what I do with I do a lit review. I go back when I have a project. I refresh, everything that's come before that's either directly or partially related to what I'm doing. I will reread and make notes. And as I go through that process, there's some really bad dwarven adventures from the early history of the hobby. And, there might be a little illustration somewhere there that might inspire me or something like that. And then I'll use that as the start of a brief to say, I like this. Let's just turn the perspective a little bit and do this and do that. And so, I do try to have little tips of the cap to the foundations of the hobby in there. And the people who know some of that material will see little veins. So if you lined up all these little dwarven adventures that, quite honestly, as I said, aren't that great. And then you put Dwaro Deep at the end of them, you're going to see some threads nonetheless. So, and then I've got a very clear idea in my mind of what I wanted with each image, how I wanted it to look, what I wanted it to convey. And so I really do enjoy working with the artists quite a bit and having them render, because I can't even draw you a good stick figure, to be honest.
Yeah, I was looking at the first thing I looked at, because I knew kind of what it entailed, and I'm like, well, first thing I want to see is the maps, because I want to see how this thing is laid out. So I looked at that and I'm like, all right, I can kind of picture this. And then I looked at like the architectural drawings, like here's what this wide hall looks like, or this giant, and I'm just like, man, that captures it perfectly. You hate to go back to it, but it's like the first time you see Moria in the good Lord of the Rings movies. It's like, all right, it's inspiring. It's like, this is the way it should be. And you are right, there was a lot of terrible like dwarf adventures from back in the day, and that's why they get the short shrift in my campaign.
Max?
That's the thing about the art too, is like in the modern art, they got like, just I look in the picture at the back of the stream there, and you see emotion on the face of the character too, and like there's dread and there's fear. In the modern art, you got none of that. It's just like people doing stuff, and they always look awesome and amazing doing it, and they're always over it all. You lose all this feeling that it's the feeling that you want to look when you're in an adventure. You don't want an adventure to just like walk around and just like shoot around and kill bad stuff and without breaking a sweat.
It is really important, that artwork, to break it up. My eyes sort of glaze over when I crack an adventure and I see a wall of text, turn the page, wall of text, turn the page, and I'm like, okay, so it's got to have some visual interest, like you put some nice gutters on your products, Greg, which always draws the eye, kind of gives you something else to look at.
You mean like the zipatomes along the bottom?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So those are a lot of, so that, people probably know, like there's 4 pages of the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Dungeon Master's Guide that was the inspiration for those. But what I wanted to do is I wanted each of them to reflect the text on the page. So that would get people who were running the game, they would see the text, but there would also be an image right there that's reflecting the content of the page, and that would get them hyped. And then they're communicating the game to their players, and they're already hyped about it, and then the players are getting hyped about it. And so, as dudes, we're visual learners. I mean, we can't fight this stuff. So when you've got it there on the page, I think and honestly, I love to do it. It was really super expensive, because I think I commissioned about 150 of those gutter illustrations.
Yeah.
And it was like, this thing had to be so planned out to make sure that that everything would reflect each page. But it was fun to do, that's for sure.
Well, I hope you didn't lose money, but it was worth it.
Just when you're mentioning that, like, each image like reflecting the text of the page, that's what I thought. Like, that's expensive.
Oh yeah. But I mean, I've got some really great artists that I've worked with, and you're going to do it, you want to have one artist do it from start to finish, so that you've got that uniformity as we're moving along. So, and it was great. I bugged Larry Elmore for about 1.5 years to do an illustration for me. And that was really great to see the characters that you asked him to illustrate rendered in a style that you would see when you're flipping through the old Dragonlance modules and that sort of thing. So that was really exciting. And he was very gentlemanly and very kind, and appreciated that very much.
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough, guys. If you don't, if you haven't already, just check out Greg's stuff on Drive Through RPG. Just search Greg Gillespie. You'll see his what you have. Is it 6 main adventures, Greg?
4 right now, and
that's right. You have 6 planned.
Yeah, 6 planned, and I'm working right now on the revision of my home game into a rule set.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm busting the. I'm in the spells section. So when you kind of reverse engineer this stuff, you got to go with spells first. So I've been working on that, and then on to monsters and magic items and monsters. So
yeah,
I've got
he did an OSR. you did the OSR monster book too, just to be clear. That just released a little bit ago. So if you guys are looking for some pretty cool monsters, these are basically like a compilation of the ones that appeared in Greg's scenarios. They're kind of all compiled in one spot, and it's got a nice, cool kind of retro feel. So check that out too. Go ahead.
I was saying, you were saying what we do now, and that's one thing that's wonderful with the RPG hobby is like so much can be done by a single guy with a creative mind, with hiring people around and stuff like that. And that's a big problem with the WotC, Wizard of the Coast company. Now their design is designed by committee, and that's never lead to a good product. It's because everybody want to add a little stuff. Everybody got a problem with something else, especially when the committee is like infiltrated by the woke culture and stuff like that.
Yes.
Having a singular vision with a creative guy that know what he wants, that can hire artists and say, "Oh, that's what I'm looking for. That's where I want to go." You can get and even if you want to go with something crazy, like I think about this venture satanist guy putting out it's not product for me, but he put out those crazy products, and it is for somebody. Some people like it, and he can put it out because he's a singular guy with a vision. Same thing with Greg, same thing with many people. And that's something that's possible in the RPG hobby because, like I said, the barrier to entry is so low.
Yep.
And especially now with the crowdfunding and stuff like that. And would it be like Kickstarter, or will it be like Patreon and stuff like that? We see a lot of people do stuff with Patreon when they go release a class or a map every day. I think the Basic Expert do something like that. So there's all kind of avenue, and that's what we do nowadays. It's not that's what we should do in the future. It's not only not giving our money to WotC anymore. It's going to the small creator and saying encouraging people that have you don't want why you want to encourage the big brand that release product made by committee. Go with the real creative people that do something from the heart.
Absolutely. Well said,
Max. You're bang on, and when you I keep my circle very, very small when I do these projects. I've got a small group of people that I trust, artists, layout people, whatever. I trust them, they trust me, and we work like that. And as you pointed out, because I prefer to be a one-man show. That way I don't have hands in the pot of the vision I'm trying to put on the page. And I think at the end of the day, you're right. That when people are flipping pages, that comes across, right? It's not a hot mess. You're not jumping from thing to thing. So yeah, I would agree. And there's no reason, if you're thinking about doing something, all you need is a rule book and a monster manual, and away you go. Start small. I'm a glutton for punishment. I start big, but don't be a glutton for punishment. Start small and take it off from there.
And there's something go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you can release with the software now. You can do a quick PDF. An old school adventure size. Like the old school modules, and just put it up on.
It's never been easier. It's never.
Go ahead, Max. Yeah.
I was saying also one thing with the Wizard of the Coast too, they want to turn D&D into $1 billion brand and stuff like that, and that's something King Waspinera from Total Party Skill, and he's a controversial person in this YouTube community of RPG. But what you say, one thing that is right is the RPG hobby should be one that is live within your mean, because it's not something that's gonna make. I don't think you can turn D&D into $1 billion brand because people are gonna buy some books once in a while and stuff like that when there's a new editions coming out, when there's a content that interests them. It's an industry that should be run lean. You cannot have those big company with hundreds of employees working on that. It doesn't make sense for the business model. They try to emulate video games, and that's why they try to turn the game basically into a video game, because they want to see the big money and stuff like that. I don't think that's how D&D should be, or RPG should be run. I think it should be run as a lean operation. You put out good product, you keep the cost down, and now it is possible to do that. People do it.
Well, they can do it. Give them this much credit. They can squeeze that money out, but they will bastardize what it was before in the process. So it won't be anything approaching what it should be or what it once was. But yeah, they may squeeze that money. Although I think even that's off the table now. They have just shot themselves in the foot so many times. They shoot themselves in the foot, then they step on a rake. Then a dog, is biting their rear end. I mean, if it wasn't so maddening, I mean, it would be funny. Yeah, but talking about the one-man band and stuff like that, that's why I think we have a lot of a lot in common with like Comicsgate and what they're doing. It's like a lot of people realize like, okay, we don't need Marvel and DC anymore. It's like I need an artist, and maybe someone to help write, or I can write it, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, you're not going to put something out every month.
Creativity and imagination is free, and now like even the tools to do it is a lot of it's free. And if you really put the work into it, it's like, yeah, you can get something pretty decent, and then you can get people on board your project later on. But you can start working right now if you want to put something out.
Yeah, I'm getting close to putting pen to paper. I have an idea for like an adventure, so we'll see how it goes. I've said before, I did get published about 1 million years ago. It was a very, very small thing in Dungeon magazine back when that was a thing. But so I've gone through the process before, and I remember how fun it was, just writing it and like having to submit it and going through the notes and getting critiqued and all that. And I'm like, this is really cool. Even though, I had to tweak some things up. It was great. It improved the final, product. And I'm looking forward to, getting back in the seat. I have a couple of ideas. So, and I'll start, small, as you suggested. We'll start small and then, build our way up to.
There's always there's always room for like the classic 32 pager modules. They're all there because you can drop those into any home game or hex crawl or whatever, have a night or two worth of fun, and then move on to something else.
Absolutely.
And then after you can always do a omnibus too if you put like a few products that are good and stuff like that. And even like RPG Pundit, which is pretty big in the Hindi scene, that's a thing he does a lot. He do like those $2 product regularly, and then you release them as omnibus once in a while. That's a business model that we can work too.
Sure.
But again, you're not gonna become super rich. I don't know about Greg. Maybe he did, but I don't think he gets super rich from that hobby. I know Greg is he's still teaching in university, right?
Yeah, I am. Well, the thing is that you have to decide what you want out of it. So I my perspective was that I don't want to put something out that doesn't have the look that I want. And and even when I first started out, as soon as I realized that I made a couple $100, I immediately took that couple $100 and put it back into more art. And so so that's the thing. I would rather do something. I've brought, like, I'm not sure whether it was Archaea or Highfell. I don't know, one of them I brought forward in the red, and I was okay with that because, like, when you're doing it on your own, it's like a baby, right? So you're giving life to that baby, and when you let it go, off it goes. And I wanted to see it happen. So I was okay with that. Now, a company probably doesn't want to do that.
Nope.
But I don't mind doing it because I'll pay that. Well, I could go for slightly less expensive art, but I really wanted to have this piece here or whatever. And so, those are concessions that I'll make as an individual where, a small company or maybe a big company could or couldn't do it. I don't know. So, that's at the end of the day, the goal is to make a timeless classic. Something that people will be playing not 5 years from now, not 10 years from now, but maybe 15, maybe 20. Maybe they're experiencing it as a young person in their early teens, and they may come around with their kids in 15 or 20 years and want to play it with them. And the way you do that is by investing as much as you can, your creativity and your writing ability, but also financially through the art and other means to give it shelf life.
And when you say timeless classic, that's the thing too, with when they chase the woke stuff and stuff like that, that's very like current year and current affairs, stuff like that. And even the woke stuff they do now that is up to their standard of the woke crowd, those standards change so bit. They're always moving the goalposts. So it's going to be like verbatim, like in a few years down the road. And nobody, or very few people wants to play those model, those adventure they put out nowadays. Who's going to play them in 10 years? Nobody.
Yeah, no, and And they're going to have their, those designers will have their names on the front, and nobody will remember them or play their adventures because they'll be locked in 2022 or 2023. And Wizards, if you're out there listening, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So just keep doing what you're doing.
Oh yeah, you're going to create a new renaissance, I think, of creativity. A lot of people. Necessity is the mother of invention, and I think there's a lot of people who are like, you know what, I could do better. I don't want to support these folks anymore.
You see, I see somebody in the chat saying that I think he'll buy the MCDM books, and that's the thing. Matt Colville, we're probably like very distant politically. Like we cannot we probably share no opinion on politics. We probably wouldn't stand having a political discussion together. But from what I've seen in this video, sometimes I've seen something that made my teeth grind a bit. But I'm very sensitive to it. But he never speak I don't think I ever saw him do very outrageous thing, saying outrageous thing maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not following that closely.
I think he because I remember I watched his early stuff and I'm like, oh man, this guy's kind of good. And then I think it was right around 2016. He did kind of the standard. It wasn't so much insulting people who voted for him, but he went. I think he definitely took a few shots at Trump. Something do whatever, but whatever.
But nobody was surprised that he's not a Trump. Nobody would have thought that Matt Colville would be a Trump guy. But anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
And I might be wrong, but I think he tried. From what I've seen, I think he tried to keep his opinion away from I would prefer you support a guy that.
And as I said earlier, that's honestly nowadays. I guess that's all I ask. I mean, I'd rather support someone like Greg first, But look, if you're looking around and, you see something you like and it's, just don't buy from people who are actively
and also,
telling you they hate you.
Also, I think he tries to put out good products. They're not big products that tickle my fancy that much. They're not things that I'm very into. But I think he does really try to put out a good product. Also, he pays people pretty well.
I got his first one. I think I got. I did get that very first thing he did. I think it's a Strongholds and something.
Yeah.
It had it had like a mass combat system that I actually thought was kind of workable. Actually that wasn't too bad. Then, like I said, after the whole Trump thing, I was kind of I just kind of, not that I'm I hate this guy, I'm never going to listen to him again, but you know how it is. You're just kind of less inclined to
But also, like I said, it's so prevalent that now everything that kind of look like it, you're just I'm going to step away before it gets too
well, how many times can you kick a dog before exactly. Every time you walk in the room the thing's cringing, getting ready to be kicked?
Exactly.
It's like we're battered spouses. I mean, it's we sort of expect it at this point.
Yeah,
but it's it doesn't have to be that way.
And that's the thing, we sort of expect it, but in another way, like we were saying earlier, our standard of solo, everything that is not outright insulting, we say, okay, that's all right.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's the bar is so low.
Yeah.
For
I would prefer being treated with respect as a customer and as a person, with human dignity.
Yes,
but just don't treat me like shit, or like trash. I'm trying to switch.
That's too high a bar.
Yeah.
No, you're unrealistic.
You were talking, Greg, too, about putting money back in and bringing it back to Comicsgate. That's exactly what Ethan does. He puts. I finally got the second Cyberfrog package, and it's you order a book. That's what you're on the hook for. It's you get a box full of stuff. It's all right, I got a Cyberfrog figure. I got this book. I get stickers. I get a keychain, blah, blah, blah. He's always spending the money that he's getting. He's I want to keep improving things. I want to keep giving people more value. That's how you create brand loyalty. Mm-hmm. It's that's why people are going to keep coming back, to your stuff.
And they do. I've had people that have been supporting me for over a decade now because I recognize the names, and I'm very thankful. And at the end of the day, those are people for, the people I'm publishing for, those are core people. So when I write, I'm trying to write to satisfy them. And they have played everything. They've read everything. They've seen everything. And they still want to see something new. So my goal is, if I can bring a sense of familiarity and yet also some new twists, then I'm doing the right thing. And if I can make it look like a coffee table book, which I certainly try my hardest, then I'm in the wheelhouse where I should be.
And that's a great mindset that Greg expressed there too, like trying to please the customer, trying to please the people that actually like what you're doing. And that's the total opposite of what Wizard of the Coast is trying to do. They always trying to, or many other companies, I say Wizard of the Coast, but it's many companies nowadays. Like they always try to court the people who don't buy, like they see like their audience, but they see like that there's much more people that are not the audience. Oh, let's try to court those people, but they don't not interested in what you're doing. So you're just like wasting your time.
Well,
Trying to respect your audience.
Go ahead. Yeah, so just to jump in there, you hit it right on the head. The first rule of publishing, regardless of what your publishing is, know your audience. And if you aren't writing, creating, crafting, branding to that audience, you're doing it wrong. And it's as simple as that. And quite honestly, I know my core audience. And the people who want to go and complain or bitch or whatever on the RPG site or anywhere else, I don't care. I know my core audience. It's not going to change my core values, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
And like you say, also like trying to give them something familiar, but also something new. And that's like the formula that the Civilization series of video game was known for. They would keep 33% the thing the same, 33% would tweak, and 33% would be new. And that's how they would keep their audience year after year. They always get something of familiar, but always something fresh too. And that's a good recipe to get.
It's wise.
Yeah.
That's the Sid Meier's.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, my favorite version of that was Colonization. Did you ever play that one?
Yeah, I did. I loved it.
That game.
Of course, you horrible white male. You're a colonizer.
I know. So it's funny, I bought the cheat book. This is in the 90s now. Mm-hmm. I bought the cheat book for Colonization, and I'm flipping through it, and I was like, I laughed out loud. It said, if you get to the New World and there aren't any Aboriginal people there, the Spanish were there first. It's like, whoa. And that was in the 90s. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, it is amazing how 37 Spaniards defeated an empire pretty much. But you were talking a little bit ago, Max, about how they can just insult part of their audience. They do it because they know they can get away with it. And you see this a lot with how they treat Christians.
Yep.
They will not say one bad word about Muslims. They will not say one bad word about Jewish people, but you can dump on Christianity all you want because they know that they can get away with it. And it's becoming that way with white people too. They can do this stuff with impunity.
Yeah. And that's something also, like I talked a lot in the video I made, like about like, don't let people insult you. And like I said, I always say, stand straight and respect yourself. If you want like a respect, start with the self. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys see the video I did about the book of erotic fantasy? Did you have a chance to check that out?
Yeah, I did.
Did you, Greg?
I did not. I missed that one. I don't
check it out after
that one. I think I gotta run and go check it out.
Yeah, check it out. But it's something that I brought it up in the video, but another point that Max was making earlier. It's like, here you have this oddball thing created in 2003, 2004. They were probably working on it. It's about erotic fantasy, sex, and the hedonism, all kinds of like probably edgy progressive stuff for its time. Mm-hmm. And yet they have that one line in there about orc tribes, and orc tribes will rape as often as they want. And it's like, you're already on the you're on the list. 20 years later, you thought you were very progressive, but already 20 years later, you're stale, you're out of date, and you're going to be thrown in the gulag with the rest of us because you said orcs can rape, and as we all know, they think orcs are minorities.
But that's the thing too. It's pointless to try to keep up with the woke crowd because it's a game you cannot win because they always like if you try to get ahead, they're gonna change the rule on you all the time. So
that's Kyle Brink. That's Kyle Brink.
Exactly. I don't know. He's the next one to be thrown under the bus. He's just wait. Yeah. They're gonna come for him for some reason, for some misstep he did, and they don't forgive either. Like everybody can make mistake, but those people they're out for blood. They don't forgive. So it's pointless to try to cater those people. And I don't know, like every company goes after that, and every time and time again, like it didn't work for Disney, like it doesn't work for Marvel, it doesn't work for DC. They always like try to court that it's like trying to they court like a bunch of psychopaths basically.
They do, but the thing is, it's just to, if anybody's listening, thinking about doing an adventure of their own or creating something, whether it's for $1 or for free or whatever, you can't pay attention to noise. There's some if you have feedback from a source you trust and recognize, it's going to be very genuine and honest with you, then take that to heart. The rest is noise, though, and you need to be able to distinguish what's good, solid, constructive criticism from ideological nonsense. So just as Max was saying there, I think there's that comes a bit with maturity, and knowing how to internalize things and then take it back to your writing, and other times just say, no, that's not it at all.
Yep. How you doing, Katie? Just Katie, I always read her comments. I don't think I've ever seen Katie here in a live stream. So how you doing, doll? It's I don't know. I think it's important for us also. I think as angry as we probably all are right now, I also think it's very important to not make this a hot burn and make it a slow burn, and always keep it in the back of your mind. Every time you see someone Wizards of the Coast, either link to that video, or link to my video. Give me the views. Link to my video, or just remind people like, I happen to be a white person. I happen to be a white male. I had no choice in the matter. This is how I was born, but this is what they think of me. So I will not be giving them another dime.
And also this video you made earlier is pretty short, so that's good. Like I think it's less than 5 minutes.
Yep.
4 minutes,
Boom,
44.
boom.
Yeah, exactly.
In and out. Yeah.
Easy to link.
Yep.
Yeah. And like you
And
said,
definitely. When you go to YouTube, and you ratio their trailers and videos, put that comment that white man can't be gone soon enough.
Yeah.
And quote it, and just review bomb it like we did Rings of Power and all that other woke trash.
Yeah, we can't be like them. They have the memory of gnats because they're baby-brained idiots. So they 2 weeks. I wish more people understood that if you can just withstand 2 weeks from these people, they move on. They have no, they don't have the heart for anything further.
That's the thing I was happy to see with the OGL thing, that people are still mad about it. Like even though like Wizard backed off and caved in and surrendered.
I think our side is providing a lot of that spine. I think they provided, the other side provided definitely a lot of heat at first. Definitely. That's why it went nuclear. Yeah. But, already you're starting to see like, well, maybe they had a point with that hate speech stuff. So what, these people are unbelievable.
But I haven't seen like sometimes I watch like outside of a little sphere. I try to watch some channel, and then those channels are inclusive and enforce like pronoun stuff and stuff like that. So they even them say, you know what, I'm not ready to go back. I'm gonna go see something else, and that's good. And that's also, and sometimes it's just like the push they needed. Like maybe they weren't that happy with 5th edition because I don't think it's the worst system either, but it's not a great one either. It's like
it's okay. It's an okay system.
It's an okay system.
And people. Here's what happened.
Like
people got bounced around. Well, a lot of people did. Well, I mean, here's what happened. People got bounced from 4th, because even if you liked it, and there were parts of it we did actually like, but they didn't support it. They gave up on it, pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
So then everybody went to Pathfinder. But then after a while, you're realizing, look, well, I'm just playing 3rd edition again, and you get the same old bloat and all that. So 5th edition came along, and they were just they were the sexy new girl in school, and it's like, ooh, who is this? Advantage on dice rolls. How great, and it's like, I think it's a clever mechanic and all that. So it's an okay system, but it's time to move on. I think it's time. Well,
talking about that, I think I'm gonna bounce, guy. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up too. Is that your channel, Max? Reactionary Principle Gaming? Is that the name of it?
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, it's reactionary
can you guys?
Gaming.
Yeah, if you're watching this now or afterward, give Max a subscribe, and of course, give Greg some of your money. Go over to Drive Through RPG. Check out his stuff. You will not regret it. My group is playing Barrow Maze, and unsolicited, even though they know I talk to Greg now pretty regularly, they are continually amazed at how good this dungeon is. It makes sense. It is deadly as hell, but in a fun way. Nobody who's died, I think, has felt cheated. Like it's like the old Tomb of Horrors where it's meant to just kill you for no reason. You can maneuver through, but man, you got to be careful. So I will let it go. Any last thing to say, guys?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on.
Anytime. We'll do it again, Max.
Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you, Greg, as well.
Yeah, nice meeting you, Max. You'll have to have me on your show.
Yeah, have a good day. Thank you. Bye.
All right, take care, Max. And Greg, we will talk soon, as always. Maybe even this weekend or something.
Sure, bro. Anytime. I'm happy to join in. Thank you for the invite.
All right, buddy. Take care. I will take you guys out with the intro again, and we will talk to you guys very, very soon. I'm sure we have not heard the last of this issue.
Thanks,
care,
everyone.
guys. Bye now. Thank you all, chat. I love you guys. Thank you for the super chat too, Emery. That was very nice. I appreciate anybody who does that, giving me your hard-earned dollars. That is awfully nice of you, and it does help the channel. So thank you very much. That's all I'll say. You guys take care. Get a good night's sleep. Go to bed. And here we go. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, man, is that Double D? Yeah, man. Well, turn it up, man.
Let's just go in and kill all the orcs, right? They're the bad guys. Who gives a shit? We just hack and slash and we loot their dead bodies, right? Hack and slash, kill them all, conquer the infidels.
Boy, that campaign sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it?
When I got fired from ArenaNet, other women in the industry, all of a sudden, people were randomly sending me $250 on PayPal.
Somebody who's opening a refrigerator and leaning in, right, is the language of a woman. Somebody who's opening their refrigerator and being cut off halfway through that lean is the voice of a mermaid or a siren, right?
Orcs are just evil elves, right? And they were made by an evil god. Well, you're the real racist here.
Well, then you shall sleep forever.
Okay, well, if you want me to crunch, give me partial ownership in the company.
We want this dwarf to be the dwarfiest dwarf.
Right.
We want the elf to be the elfiest elf.
And just the dashiest dash of Tabasco.
Their voices need to carry across water.
I'm a creative. It's a huge drain, right? Because fans can be awful.
Costa del X, Lutherville, Marina del X, Otisburg. Otisburg?
Where's this monster? She's got her own place, man.
Otisburg?
It's a little bitty place.
Otisburg?
Okay, I just wipe it off. That's all. It's a little town.
Okay. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live! Fucking thing sucks!
In 5, 4, 3.
Great! Great sandwich!